Captain Marcus Webb stood before the crystalline throne, acutely aware of the dozens of alien eyes fixed upon him. The Zathari court chamber stretched upward into impossible geometries, its walls pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that hurt to observe for too long. At the center of it all sat Queen Velshara, her 6 arms folded in what the translation matrix identified as profound disappointment. "Explain yourself, human," the Queen's voice resonated through the chamber, bypassing his ears entirely and manifesting directly in his consciousness. "My daughter, Princess Kiravel, is the most sought-after maiden in 7 star systems. Suitors have crossed the void itself for merely a chance at her favor. Yet you, whom she has chosen, refuse her courtship. This is an insult that demands explanation." Marcus swallowed hard. 3 months ago, he'd been a simple xenoarchaeologist cataloging ruins on Kepler 442b. Then Princess Kiravel had arrived with her entourage, interested in the human perspective on the ancient sites. What followed were weeks of intellectual discourse, shared laughter over universal jokes, and a connection that transcended species. When she'd formally declared her intention to court him according to Zathari customs, he'd been honored. Terrified, but honored. The problem wasn't what the Queen thought. "Your Majesty," Marcus began, choosing his words carefully. "I mean no disrespect to the princess or your noble house. The issue isn't, then accept her," one of the court advisors hissed, their translator rendering it with appropriate venom. "Do you think yourself too good for Zathari royalty? Your species has been spacefaring for barely 2 centuries. "Let him speak," the Queen commanded, though her luminescent skin patterns flickered with barely contained irritation. Marcus took a breath. "Here went everything. Your Majesty, Princess Kiravel is too beautiful." The silence that followed was absolute. Even the chamber's ambient hum seemed to pause. Then chaos erupted. Courtiers chittered and buzzed in outrage. The advisor who'd spoken before looked ready to leap from their perch. The Queen herself rose from her throne, all 6 arms spreading wide. "Too beautiful?" Her mental voice cracked like thunder. "You dare to mock? I'm not mocking." Marcus raised his hands defensively. "Please let me explain. It's a human thing. A flaw in how we're wired." The Queen's eyes, all 4 of them, narrowed. She settled back onto her throne with deliberate slowness. "Speak then, quickly." Marcus gathered his thoughts, trying to translate millions of years of evolution into words. "Humans are cursed with self-doubt, Your Majesty. It's carved into our genetic code, a survival mechanism from our primitive days. When we encounter something too perfect, too beautiful, too far beyond what we think we deserve, we sabotage ourselves. We retreat." He dared a glance toward where Princess Kiravel stood among the court, her iridescent scales catching the light like a living rainbow, her form elegant beyond description. Even now his chest ached with longing and inadequacy in equal measure. "Your daughter is magnificent," Marcus continued, his voice softer now. "When she speaks, it's like music theory achieving consciousness. When she moves, it's poetry in motion. Her mind is brilliant, her humor sharp, her kindness genuine, and that terrifies me." "This makes no sense," the advisor interjected. "How can excellence inspire fear?" "Because I'm not excellent," Marcus said simply. "I'm ordinary. A decent scientist maybe, but nothing special." I look at her and think, what happens when she realizes I'm just me? When the novelty of dating a human wears off? When she sees all my flaws, my limitations, my mediocrity? The fear of that inevitable disappointment is worse than never trying at all. The Queen studied him for a long moment, her alien features unreadable. "So you would deny yourself happiness because you fear future pain?" "Yes," Marcus admitted. "It's irrational. It's self-destructive. But it's human. We're a species that can achieve faster than light travel, while simultaneously convincing ourselves we don't deserve nice things. We'll terraform planets but believe we're not good enough for the people we love. It's our greatest weakness." "How absurd," the Queen said, but her tone had shifted, curiosity replacing anger. "How do your kind ever form pair bonds?" "With difficulty," Marcus said with a sad smile. "Usually with people we perceive as being on our level. Or sometimes, if we're lucky, someone loves us enough to batter through our walls until we believe we're worthy." Princess Kiravel suddenly moved, gliding forward from the crowd. The court parted before her like a sea. She stopped before Marcus, and up close she was even more breathtaking. He forced himself to meet her gaze. "Is this true, Marcus?" Her voice was gentle, musical. "You reject me not from disinterest, but from fear. I'm sorry. he whispered. You deserve someone who doesn't come with so much baggage. Let me understand, Kiravel said slowly. On your world, beauty is a barrier. Excellence is intimidating. Humans must feel equal to love. Not equal exactly, Marcus struggled to explain. We just need to believe we have something to offer. That we're not just taking. The princess was quiet for a moment. Then to everyone's shock, she laughed. A sound like crystal chimes in a solar wind. Marcus, you absolute fool. Do you know what I see when I look at you? He shook his head mutely. I see someone who spent 3 hours explaining human mythology to me, even though your throat was sore. Who noticed when I was cold and offered his jacket, even though your species requires higher temperatures than mine. Who makes me laugh, who challenges my thinking, who treats me like a person rather than a prize. You think you have nothing to offer? You already gave me what 7-star systems of suitors couldn't. You made me feel seen. Marcus felt something crack in his chest, the careful walls he'd built beginning to crumble. I'm still terrified, he admitted. Good, Kiravel said, reaching out to take his hand. Fear means you care. And Marcus? I'm terrified too. That's what makes it real. The queen watched this exchange with what might have been amusement. Humans, she declared to her court, are apparently the only species in the galaxy who need permission to be happy. How wonderfully, frustratingly, uniquely human. Marcus looked from the princess to the queen and back again. Maybe he was broken. Maybe his species was wired all wrong. But Kiravel was still holding his hand, and for the first time in weeks, the fear seemed manageable. So, the princess said with a sly smile, shall we try this again? Will you court me, Captain Marcus Webb, despite your inconvenient human psychology? He squeezed her hand, feeling the warmth of her scales against his skin. Yes, he said. Though fair warning, I'll probably panic at least 3 more times. I'm counting on it, she replied. It'll keep things interesting. As the court erupted in approving chirps and the queen settled back with satisfaction, Marcus realized something profound. Maybe humanity's greatest weakness was also its greatest strength. They loved despite their fears, not without them. And maybe, just maybe, that made human love the most powerful force in the galaxy.